Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew that he couldn't resist the man in the golden armor with his current cultivation level, unless he brings out the Ascendant Soul. At this moment, Qianfeng and Lu Mei also frowned. Clearly, the two of them also saw through this. Qianfeng's eyes lit up and he suddenly said, "Tang Miao, how about the three of us work together to block the sword energy from the man in golden armor?" A hint of coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes as he nodded and said, "Okay." The reason Qianfeng asked Wang Lin for help was because he had no choice. It was clear that even with him and Lu Mei, they weren't confident in being able to resist that attack. If they couldn't resist the attack, then they couldn't go search for the palace. ENGSUB and the old man were already ahead of them. If they were any slower, it might be too late. Now with Wang Lin on their side, the chances of the three of them succeeding was higher. Qianfeng didn't underestimate Wang Lin just because he was at the early stage of soul transformation. In fact, in his heart he believed that Wang Lin was someone who was qualified to fight him. He also knew that the 1 billion soul flag that Wang Lin possessed was something that could instantly kill him. So he dreaded Wang Lin deeply. This is why he had Red Butterfly stall Wang Lin. It was so that he could get the cultivation planet crystal without having to face him. However, after arriving at the Spirit Mountain, he realized that there were several barriers before he could get to the crystal. He no longer thought of Wang Lin as a weakling like he did when he first met him. Now he saw him as his equal, but deep in Qianfeng's heart, there was still a powerful sense of pride. In his view, if Wang Lin didn't have the 1 billion soul flag, then there was no way Wang Lin could be compared with him. After hearing Wang Lin's response, Qianfeng pondered a bit and said, "Fellow cultivator Tseng, the two of us will go first and then we'll let my junior apprentice sister take over. What do you think?" Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he looked at Qianfeng and Lu Mei. Just at this moment, Lu Mei also looked toward him, let out a smile, and was about to speak when Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and said, "No need to be so complicated. I'll go first and then the two of you can follow." Qianfeng was startled and his eyes lit up. To be the first to go meant that not only would he have to deal with the attack at full power, but he would also have to pay attention to any possible backstabbing from the people behind them. It was a very dangerous thing. The reason Qianfeng said that the two of them would go together was because he was afraid that Wang Lin would worry too much and hold back. And with Lu Mei going after them, even if Wang Lin secretly attacked, then he wouldn't need to worry. Qianfeng decided that dealing with the sword energy would be their first priority this time. Dealing with Wang Lin could wait. As soon as he heard Wang Lin volunteer to go first, he was a bit suspicious. However, this was not the time to ponder over such things, so he said, "If that is so, then we will depend on fellow cultivator Tsang." Lu Mei slightly frowned. She felt like there was something strange about this. After pondering for a bit, she looked toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't even look at her as he flew toward the golden armored man. Lu Mei and Qianfeng followed behind. The three of them moved forward in a formation. At the moment the three of them got close, the golden armored man's eyes became serious and he lifted his arm. Bright light gathered on the golden sword, creating a blinding golden light. Then he viciously swung the sword. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy that looked like it could split the heavens instantly closed and followed by the sonic boom of the sound barrier breaking. The only sound that could be heard was the sword energy piercing through the sky. It moved very quickly and immediately landed. The sea below them parted due to the pressure of the sword energy, creating a deep gorge. When Wang Lin saw ENGSUB and the old man hold the sword energy off, he only felt it from the side and didn't participate. Now that he was facing it himself, he could feel the destructive force inside this sword energy. When facing this destructive force, even his origin soul began to tremble and show signs of instability. Not only this, but every part of his body felt like they were being pinned down by a giant mountain. He wasn't unfamiliar with this feeling. It was the exact same feeling he had from the pressure of the spirit vein below the soul refining sect. Only this feeling was thousands of times stronger. Before the sword energy even collided with him, blood already started coming out from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth, but his eyes showed no signs of giving up. When he noticed Wang Lin's current state, Qianfeng paused for a moment and began to ponder. Should he take this moment to kill Tsang Niu and take the 1 billion soul flag, or help resist the sword energy? This idea flashed through his mind and he made his decision. He would kill Wang Lin and take the soul flag. With the soul flag, he would have more than enough power to resist the sword energy. All of this happened very quickly in his mind. After making up his mind, Qianfeng laughed and said, "Don't panic, fellow cultivator Tseng. I'm coming." Qianfeng moved forward like lightning. This attack absolutely had to succeed, so Qianfeng wasn't in a rush. He had to get close to hit Wang Lin with an attack that he will never forget. Qianfeng knew that he had to succeed in one attack, or else Wang Lin would have time to call out the 1 billion soul flag. If that happened, things wouldn't go well. With Lu Mei's smarts, she immediately saw through Qianfeng's intentions and hesitated. Then her eyes suddenly became cold. She didn't follow but waited there. She was a ruthless person, so it didn't matter to her. Plus, if Qianfeng killed Wang Lin's aura would be removed from her last illusion. This would make it easier for her in the future because it was basically like removing an inner demon that she would have to face in the future. At this moment, the sword energy arrived right above Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he let out a snort. Since he was the one who agreed to go first, how could he not have considered Qianfeng's change of heart? All of this was part of his plan. From the moment the sword energy was sent out, and as soon as Qianfeng started flying over, Wang Lin was secretly calculating Qianfeng's speed. When Qianfeng was 100 feet away from Wang Lin let out a laugh and slapped his bag of holding. A pagoda suddenly flew out of his bag of holding and appeared before him. Zhou Yi's early-stage ascendant divine sense came out from the pagoda. The sword energy couldn't help but pause for a moment after coming into contact with the divine sense. Using this pause, Wang Lin laughed, called back the pagoda, and charged toward the sea. However, he intentionally maintained a speed low enough to stay within 100 feet of Qianfeng. The golden armored man's eyes became serious, but he didn't attack Wang Lin and instead looked at Qianfeng. Now that there was no ascendant-level divine sense stopping the sword energy, it landed on Qianfeng's body. Qianfeng's expression changed greatly. He didn't even have the time to wonder why the sword energy didn't attack Wang Lin, and went after himself instead. At this moment, he let out a roar, slapped his bag of holding, and took out a red awl. A bright red light came from the awl and charged toward the sword energy. Wang Lin's face revealed a hint of mockery. When the old man and monkey resisted the sword energy, Wang Lin felt that something was off. He concluded that the golden armored man must have determined that the two were a pair, and only sent out one sword energy. Wang Lin calculated that the distance between the old man and monkey was about 100 feet, and assumed that if he were that close to Qianfeng, the golden armored man would consider them a pair. If they were within range of each other, the sword energy would attack whoever was closest to it. This was why Wang Lin declined the plan of him and Qianfeng going first with Lu Mei coming in second. Because with that, although he would be close to Qianfeng, he would be too close. If he were to make any abnormal movements, Qianfeng would notice and be on guard. This was why he decided to go first himself. Although Qianfeng was suspicious, he still fell for the trap. In fact, even if Qianfeng didn't agree to Wang Lin's plan or hadn't suggested that the three of them work together, Wang Lin would still have faced it alone. He didn't believe that Qianfeng would pass up the chance to kill him if he were to put himself in a dangerous position. Although, if that were the case, it would be more difficult to lure Qianfeng to come within 100 feet of him. However, Wang Lin still had a plan B, and was 80% confident in luring Qianfeng close enough. Then Qianfeng suggested the three of them work together, and this confirmed Wang Lin's suspicion. The Qianfeng indeed wasn't able to resist his urges and gave up on trying to work together. He was going to use helping to resist the sword energy as an excuse to get closer, but didn't realize that Wang Lin had already seen through it all. Zhou Yi's divine sense from the pagoda played a big part in this. This stopped the sword energy enough for Wang Lin to get away, making Qianfeng the closest person to the sword energy. Although this took a long time to explain, it all happened in the blink of an eye. At the moment the sword energy swept toward Qianfeng, Wang Lin stopped. He didn't fly away but coldly looked at Lu Mei in the distance. Lu Mei was at the back and was a bit startled when she saw the situation change. She seemed to have realized something and quickly chased after Wang Lin. When he saw Lu Mei getting closer, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he charged out. This time he moved farther than 100 feet from Qianfeng. As soon as Wang Lin was over 100 feet away from Qianfeng, the golden armored man's eyes became serious and he quickly swung his sword twice, sending one wave of sword energy toward Wang Lin and the other one toward Lu Mei. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes. He stopped flying toward the sea and teleported to within 100 feet of Lu Mei the moment the sword energy closed in. Lu Mei's expression changed. She seemed to have realized something. Although she wasn't sure, she seemed to have guessed the situation from Wang Lin's actions. She was about to teleport away so Wang Lin would be above her, making him the one to take the blow of the sword energy. Wang Lin let out a sneer. At the moment she was about to teleport, he touched his bag of holding and several time domain carvings flew out. Time! With a roar from Wang Lin, the carvings all exploded and a powerful time domain surged out. Although Lu Mei's domain had reached its completion, this time domain was carefully prepared by Wang Lin. It was too weak to harm Lu Mei or even slow her down by much, but in a critical situation like this it would be fatal. Lu Mei's body slowed down, allowing Wang Lin to move below her. At this moment, the two sword energies suddenly fused into one and descended like crazy toward Lu Mei. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes as he pointed at Lu Mei. A strand of restriction gas came from his finger and shot toward her. Wang Lin didn't even wait for the result. He knew that time was of the essence, so he charged into the sea without any hesitation. Once he entered the sea, he saw the giant palace emitting a golden glow. Wang Lin charged toward the palace at top speed. There was a mysterious power within the sea. Wang Lin didn't even need to test it to know that there was something preventing teleportation. He had experienced this at other mysterious places before, so he knew what this power felt like. When he was about to enter the palace, a series of roars came from the surface and the seawater around Wang Lin quickly parted ways. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy descended from the sky and quickly chased after him. As the sword energy got closer and closer, Wang Lin could even feel its powerful aura. A sharp pain suddenly came from the top of his head. He ruthlessly clenched his teeth. He saw that he was only 1,000 feet away from the palace, but the sword energy was almost upon him. A trace blood came from the top of Wang Lin's head and the pain increased. 900 feet, 800 feet, 700 feet, 600 feet. He was getting closer and closer, but the sword energy was closing in above his head. The roar of the sword energy seemed to echo inside Wang Lin's brain. As Wang Lin rushed toward the palace, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, touched the bag of holding and took out the axe. He suddenly let out a roar, turned around and placed the axe before him. At this moment, the sword energy arrived and suddenly landed on the axe. Wang Lin's face became red. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his origin soul shook. He touched his bag of holding and the pagoda flew out. Zhou Yi's domain quickly spread out and the sword energy paused. Using this pause, Wang Lin charged out and crossed the 500 feet in an instant to enter the palace. As soon as he entered the palace, the sword energy trembled and then disappeared. Blood was seeping out of Wang Lin's mouth as he put away the axe and pagoda. Then, while sitting down in the lotus position, he took out a large amount of pills and devoured them before feeling a painful sting from his entire body. He took out a piece of celestial jade and looked at it before throwing in his mouth. Then he felt the celestial spiritual energy fill his body. Thanks to the rush of celestial spiritual energy, Wang Lin felt his body become light. The celestial spiritual energy instantly suppressed all of his injuries. Shortly after, he stood up and with one step rushed into the depths of the palace. As for above the sea, the sword energy was closing in on Lu Mei. Just as she was about to dodge, the restriction closed in from behind her. This made her beautiful expression change. She clenched her teeth and spat out a white mist. A white ribbon danced inside the white mist and with one whipping motion, it destroyed the restriction. This white ribbon quickly wrapped around her and moved her 10,000 feet away from the sword energy. The sword energy missed and then disappeared. That golden armored man didn't attack anymore. His only job was to guard this place and only allow those that are qualified enter the palace. There was only one requirement and that was to be able to resist the power of one blow. Qianfeng was also in a very sorry state right now. Luckily, as long as one leaves the area the attack stops. Qianfeng's expression was fierce as he roared, "Teng Niu, I swear that I'll tear you to pieces. If I violate this oath, then I'll die a painful death." Lu Mei silently stared at the sea with a gloomy expression. Seeing that Qian Feng was still cursing and roaring, she frowned and said, "Shut up. If it wasn't for you having malicious intentions and the three of us really worked together, we would already be inside the palace rather than here." Qian Feng's expression was fierce. He looked ruthlessly at Lu Mei and said, "Do you think I didn't notice how the two of you were flirting and eyeing each other? Junior apprentice sister, don't forget what you promised me." Lu Mei coldly looked at Qian Feng and said, "With Yangxi there, it will be hard for Zhang Niu to get his soul piece back. Yangxi won't let him succeed so easily." Qian Feng took a deep breath, then he withdrew his fierce expression, touched his bag of holding and said, "The old man gave me something that was meant to be used against the 1 billion soul flag. Since it can affect the soul flag, it should have some effect on ascendant cultivators as well. After Yangxi comes out, I'll use this. I only want my soul piece, but if he still won't give it, I'll just go all out." Inside the palace under the sea, what appeared before Wang Lin was a very large hallway. There were several lamps around the hall that were flicking and releasing a very demonic glow. This light wasn't produced by fire but by a mysterious substance that Wang Lin had never seen before. The dim light caused this hallway to bend and turn, creating a very strange feeling. Wang Lin revealed a cautious expression as he carefully moved forward. This hallway seemed to have no end. He had walked for a long time and the hallway still looked the same. Wang Lin didn't dare to spread his divine sense out too far. When he first arrived, he spread it out and some of it disappeared like it was devoured by something. As a result, Wang Lin became very cautious. After an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin saw the flashing of spells in the distance. He stopped moving and carefully spread his divine sense forward. But what he saw made his expression change. When his divine sense reached the end of the hallway, what he saw was a large open area. There was a very tall tower at the center of this open area. At the top of the tower was a throne, and there was someone with a head full of black hair sitting on it. This person looked middle-aged and seemed very normal, but he gave off a very majestic aura. His eyes were closed and there was no sign of life from his body. It was clearly a dead person. However, his body was emitting a terrifying aura which surrounded the area. The moment Wang Lin's divine sense saw this person, he suddenly had the urge to bow toward him. He was forced to activate some celestial spiritual energy to suppress this urge. There seemed to be a mysterious power here that would shake the heart of anyone that passed by. Before this person floated an object. It was a ball of purple light. This light shined on the middle-aged man and left a dark shadow behind him. However, the light was currently dim and flickering as if it could go out at any time. At the moment Wang Lin's divine sense touched the ball of light, a powerful force suddenly came crashing toward his divine sense, so he quickly retreated. In the hallway, Wang Lin's face was pale and his eyes were filled with terror. The first Suzuka Yuyo. He was immediately able to guess the identity of the middle-aged man. As for the purple ball of light, it was the cultivation planet crystal. However, Wang Lin felt like something was wrong. Although it looked exactly like what Sitanan described, he didn't feel that connection with his soul piece when his divine sense touched it. "Since you have arrived, come in." Yangxi's voice came from down the hallway. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When his divine sense went into the room, he saw the first Suzaku and the cultivation planet crystal, but he didn't see Yangxi nor the old man, both of whom were already here. Wang Lin pondered a bit before walking forward. Shortly after, he arrived at the end of the hallway and walked into the large open space. Now that he had personally come here, the feeling of shock was even stronger. Compared to the 1,000-foot tower, he suddenly felt very small. Wang Lin took a deep breath. Then his eyes lit up and saw Yangxi's figure in the corner. Yangxi's face was pale. He was sitting cross-legged and blood was seeping out from the corner of his mouth. He looked much weaker than normal. He looked at Wang Lin and then hoarsely said with a smile, "I was right about you. You were indeed the third person to get there." Wang Lin revealed a look of caution and asked, "What about him?" Yangxi's expression was ugly as he said, "I used a formation to trap him. He should still be trapped inside." "Wang Lin, I'm gravely injured, so go get the cultivation planet crystal for me. Whether it is for my Forsaken Immortal clan or the cultivators, I can't let the cultivation planet crystal collapse." "Oh." Wang Lin calmly looked at Yangxi and asked, "You want me to get the cultivation planet crystal?" Yangxi took a deep breath and let out a sigh. "I know you are very cautious, You can check my body with your divine sense. You'll find that I'm almost completely out of power. That old man is not from planet Suzaku. His techniques are all very strange and I can't trap him for long. Once he gets free, he will be able to steal the cultivation planet crystal. And at that moment, everyone on planet Suzaku will be faced with a crisis. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He raised his head and looked at the ball of purple light before the first Suzaku. Without any hesitation, he backed up. With speed several times faster than when he entered, Wang Lin flew toward the hallway like a madman. Yangxi's eyes lit up and he immediately disappeared. When he reappeared, he was before the passage, blocking Wang Lin. He gloomily said, "What are you running for?" Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Then he backed up a few steps and stared at Yangxi. He waved his right hand and the 1 billion soul flag appeared. Then he calmly said, "Junior doesn't want to die yet." Yangxi's expression was dark as he sneered at Wang Lin and asked, "How did you see through me?" Looking at Yangxi, Wang Lin said with a heavy tone, "That isn't the cultivation planet crystal. Also, you have the ability to teleport, so even if you were injured, it wouldn't be as serious as you said it was." Yangxi laughed. There was a hint of appreciation in his eyes as he said, "You are worthy of being one of the 4 people I chose." "That is correct. That isn't the cultivation planet crystal. That is only a shadow. As long as one touches it, they can take their soul piece back." Wang Lin's eyes were calm. He didn't speak but just stared at Yangxi. His grip on the 1 billion soul flag slowly tightened. "This old man won't lie to you. To draw your soul piece back through the shadow requires a heavy price. This is why I asked you to get it for me. If you do it, I'll give you a powerful treasure as a reward. In the deepest part of the immortal graveyard, there is an ancient altar. It is there that my clan's ancestor obtained the power to reach the 12-leaf stage. If you help me bring me back the cultivation planet crystal, I'll bring you there to let your cultivation increase by a level." "How about it?" said Yangxi with a heavy tone. Wang Lin revealed a pondering expression. Yangxi seemed to be a bit anxious as he quickly said, "Wang Lin, quickly go retrieve the cultivation planet crystal. Don't force me to act. You know I don't want to kill you." Wang Lin took a look at Yangxi and said, "And if you break your promise? Give me the true method to use the straw hat as a deposit." Wang Lin still had the straw hat that Yangxi gave him. However, the straw hat contained many restrictions, and they were very complicated, so without the proper method, he couldn't unleash its full power. Yangxi's eyes lit up. From his point of view, there was no way for Wang Lin to escape, so all Wang Lin could do was follow his order. As a result, he took a jade, filled it with information and threw it at Wang Lin. Wang Lin wasn't in a rush as he looked through the jade. After making sure that it was real, he put it away, surrounded himself with the 1 billion soul flag, and flew toward the tower in the center. In almost the blink of an eye, he arrived next to the first Suzaku. He looked at this once ruler of the planet, paid a special attention to the shadow, and finally turned his gaze to the cultivation planet crystal. He was standing beside the purple light, but strangely enough, there was no shadow of him at all. Yangxi's eyes lit up and he quickly said, "Put your hand on it and call out my name. Don't try anything funny, or I promise I'll kill you." Wang Lin took a deep breath, then he lowered his head toward Yangxi and said with a heavy tone, "I once thought of you as my benefactor. Even when I found out that you were part of the Forsaken Immortal clan, I didn't want to oppose you. I just wanted to leave planet Suzaku and search for my own Tao. Senior, you have truly disappointed me today. I don't know if this shadow does what you say it does, but I know that if I do what you told me to, I will immediately die." At the moment Wang Lin said those words, Yangxi's expression changed and he was about to charge out. But Wang Lin shook the 1 billion soul flag, and the surroundings were immediately filled with soul fragments. At the same time, Wang Lin quickly backed up and with a roar, all of the soul fragments from the soul flag charged toward the shadow of the first Suzaku. At this moment, a series of crackling sounds came from the chair the first Suzaku was sitting on, and at the same time, a laugh came out from within the shadow and red lights started flashing from it like crazy. The shadow immediately shattered and the old man quickly walked out. The monkey on his shoulder, which was even faster, charged out at Yangxi. Yangxi's expression became gloomy and he stopped. His hand moved and one by one, golden tattoos appeared from the void and circled around him. Little fellow, that seal of yours was pretty good. Using the aura from this dead person along with your own cultivation, you created a shadow seal to seal me. This kind of shadow seal is very rare. It was rare even in ancient times. For you to be able to control it is not easy. If Master's original body was here, it would be destroyed with just one punch, but this is just a sliver of Master's divine sense possessing a body, so you were able to trap me for a while. To be able to do this much in your lifetime is already very good. You can brag about it in your next life. The old man's eyes started glowing red. ENGSUB let out a snort and the tattoos around him flew out. His target wasn't the old man but the little monkey. ENGSUB shouted, "A mere puppet. As long as I destroy where that divine sense is hidden, then no matter how strong your real body is, you won't be able to get here now." When Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, he noticed the shadow behind Yi Wuyo. When he found himself next to the purple light and saw no shadow of himself, he felt that it was strange and decided to risk it. If he failed, he would immediately enter the heaven-defying bead to hide. He believed that ENGSUB didn't lie about the effect of the cultivation planet crystal's shadow, but the price to extract a soul piece through it was one's life. Otherwise, ENGSUB would have already gotten it himself instead of waiting. Even if the third person wasn't Wang Lin, he would still have forced that person to get the soul piece. At the moment the old man came out, Wang Lin shook the soul flag. The soul fragments surrounded him and he quickly retreated. Whether it was the old man Tuosin was controlling or ENGSUB, they were not people Wang Lin was willing to mess with right now. He had already confirmed that the cultivation planet crystal wasn't here, so he could only quickly leave. But just at this moment, the palace suddenly shook. This shaking was extremely violent. It was as if the heavens and earth were being shaken. At this moment, cracks began to appear on the tower. Another collapse of the cultivation planet crystal had started. From the bottom of the tower, a crack appeared and moved straight up like a dragon. Finally, the crack reached the top of the tower and arrived at the throne of the first Suzaku. At this moment, with a crisp crackling sound, the throne Yi Wuyo was sitting on suddenly fell off. As for Yi Wuyo's body, with the shaking from the crack, it turned to dust and disappeared. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank. At this moment, not only him but ENGSUB, the old man, and the little monkey all stopped fighting and stared at where Yi Wuyo had turned to dust. A white crystal the size of half a fist floated up from the dust that was Yi Wuyo's body. When Wang Lin saw the white crystal, he immediately felt a connection to his soul. Cultivation planet crystal. ENGSUB took a deep breath and charged out, but the little monkey was even faster as it charged out with the old man. At this moment, Wang Lin wasn't close enough and he couldn't be faster than them, so he clenched his teeth, surrounded himself with the soul flag, and charged toward the nearby hallway. Wang Lin knew that with his current strength, he was no match for ENGSUB nor the old man Tuosin was possessing. In fact, even if he managed to get it, he wouldn't have time to retrieve his soul piece and would just invite disaster upon himself. With a sigh, Wang Lin quickly flew toward the hallway. The old man was closer. With a flash, he grabbed the crystal and laughed. "The day Master will be free is before me." However, just at the moment he grabbed the crystal, his expression suddenly changed, his laughing stopped, and he revealed a look of disbelief. Just when he was about to release the crystal, his body shook and then started melting into strands of gas which entered the white crystal. This all happened very quickly. In almost the blink of an eye, the old man was gone. The only thing that remained was a blob of red light that quickly fused with the little monkey. The little monkey let out a laugh. His strength suddenly increased. His power was now the same as Zhu Kezi's. He possessed the power of a late-stage ascendant cultivator. Although the monkey was very close to the crystal, it hesitated for a bit and didn't reach out. At this moment, ENGSUB arrived and reached out, but he immediately let out a painful groan as white gas appeared on his body. He quickly let go of the crystal in fear. Luckily, he didn't touch it directly, or else he wouldn't have been able to escape a horrible fate. This change happened without any warning, causing ENGSUB and the little monkey to be stuck in a difficult position. Just at this moment, the white crystal suddenly let out a hum and charged toward ENGSUB. ENGSUB's expression changed greatly and he dodged it. The cultivation planet crystal charged past ENGSUB and toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He saw what happened to the old man, so he started flying even faster toward the hallway. He was surrounded by the soul flag, making his speed much faster than normal. The hallway wasn't straight and had some curves, but the crystal seemed to have a life of its own. It was as if it wouldn't give up until it caught Wang Lin. Yangxi's face turned gloomy and he quickly chased after it. As for the little monkey, it also chased after the cultivation planet crystal. In the blink of an eye, there was no one left around the tower. Just at this moment, a purple light gathered above the tower and took the shape of the person wearing the mask from outside. He revealed a look of confusion, but his eyes immediately became clear. The cultivation planet crystal is collapsing. This Zhukazi sure is bold. As Wang Lin fled, the white crystal chased closely after him. The crystal became faster and faster, and it was closing in. When it was within 30 feet of him, Wang Lin suddenly turned around. His right hand formed a seal and celestial spiritual energy filled his body as he sent out a gust of wind toward the crystal. Wang Lin's goal was to blow it away. This object was simply too strange, so he really didn't want to touch it. But with a flash, the crystal broke through the gust of wind and in the blink of an eye it got close to Wang Lin. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and reached out to grab the crystal so he could throw it away. However, when he touched it, he found that there were no negative effects. He was startled for a moment, then his eyes lit up and he continued to escape without any hesitation. But just at this moment, a mysterious power from the crystal entered Wang Lin's arm. This energy moved through his body toward his brain and exploded with information. Strange symbols appeared one by one in his mind. These symbols flashed and moved like lightning inside his brain. Wang Lin wasn't surprised by this because he had been through this once before. When he absorbed ancient God 2C's inheritance of knowledge, the same thing happened. As those symbols flashed in his head, various scenes echoed in Wang Lin's mind. The scene showed a man filled with majesty and pride standing on top of a giant star compass. This star compass was completely black and had purple lightning traveling through it. Wherever the star compass went, there would be loud rumbling sounds. Before this man was a pagoda floating in space, and there were 3 large and clear words on the pagoda. Celestial Seal Pagoda. The man quickly entered this pagoda. Stop! A voice came out from inside the pagoda. This voice was also filled with majesty and would cause anyone's heart to shake. But the middle-aged man's expression remained the same as he bowed and said, Junior is Yi Wuyo from the country of Suzaku that has just reached rank 6. Junior is here on orders from the Cultivation Alliance to get the Suzaku seal. Wang Lin's body trembled. His entire mind was absorbed by a vortex into this memory. However, in the real world, not only did his feet not stop moving, but something even more strange happened. A ray of red light suddenly appeared under his feet, and a powerful force suddenly came from Wang Lin. However, this force didn't come directly from him but from the red light under his feet. As the red light flashed, Wang Lin's speed reached an unimaginable level. Moving at this pace, Wang Lin quickly made his way toward the exit of the hallway. Yangxi, who was chasing him, exclaimed out loud. His expression was ugly, and he couldn't believe what his eyes were seeing. Suzaku seal. How could this Tsung Nyo give off the aura of the Suzaku seal? In the scene inside Wang Lin's mind, the man walked into the pagoda. This pagoda seemed like it had many floors. The man only got to the 3rd floor before he stopped. The Suzaku seal is a low-rank technique and an inheritance technique. One has to be the titled cultivator to use it. The voice came from the void, and at the same time, a red seal appeared in the air. This seal was very complicated, and for a moment he felt like this seal looked similar to the tattoos on the skulls of the Forsaken Immortal clan members. But after looking at it closely, it was completely different. This feeling was very strange. At this moment, the seal slowly floated toward the man and imprinted on his forehead. Wang Lin suddenly felt pain. This was pain Wang Lin had never experienced before. It was as if something was being carved onto his soul. At this moment, he seemed to have lost himself and become that man. Waves of pain continued entering his body. Wang Lin couldn't stand it anymore and began to roar. His body moved even faster and the red light was now blinding. The look of disbelief in the eyes of Yangxi, who was chasing Wang Lin, became even stronger. He stared dumbfoundedly at Wang Lin and muttered to himself, This is the Suzaku inheritance. How could it be like this? Without fusing with the cultivation planet heart, how could this kid go through the Suzaku's inheritance? As for the little monkey, it stared at Wang Lin with glowing, red eyes and a dark expression. Wang Lin's roar echoed in the hallway. He was moving like lightning when he finally exited the palace and appeared in the sea. He didn't stop and directly charged toward the sea's surface. He was completely surrounded by red light, and the aura of the Suzaku began to spread. His eyes were no longer clear. They were filled with chaos and struggle. Inside his mind, the pain came wave after wave. It had reached the point where he almost couldn't stand it any longer. The veins on his forehead were popped out and his eyes were bloodshot. The injuries he had suppressed previously suddenly exploded forth, but they were forced down once more by the red light. Inside Wang Lin's mind, a voice filled with majesty suddenly echoed. Are you willing to become the titled Suzaku? To protect planet Suzaku until your life ends? This voice was like lightning striking his brain and echoed in his mind. Wang Lin's eyes regained clarity. At this moment he had a feeling that if he agreed now, he would immediately learn the Suzaku seal. Although he was only at the early stage of soul transformation with the Suzaku seal, he could battle ascendant level cultivators. Wang Lin replied in his mind, I'm not willing. Wang Lin's goal wasn't to stay here and become the next Suzaku. As soon as he replied, he heard a sigh in his mind. The red light suddenly moved away from his body and gathered on the crystal in his right hand. Along with the red light, the symbols also left Wang Lin like a flood. It was as if they were never there. During this time, Wang Lin quickly shouted in his heart, Soul peace. One life for a life. The voice came from the void once more. However, this time a strange symbol appeared in Wang Lin's mind and released a strange light. When he felt this symbol, Wang Lin understood. To take out your soul piece from the cultivation planet crystal, one must trade a life for it. The only other way was to wait for your soul piece to be absorbed by one of those life forms and then fight them for it. However, to find your own soul piece among the endless pool of soul pieces in the Suzaku tomb was something that couldn't be forced. It depended on one's luck. At this moment, Wang Lin's body came out from the sea. ENGSUB was following closely behind him, and as for the little monkey possessed by Tua-san, it had disappeared without a trace. When Wang Lin charged out of from the sea, he had already regained control. He now knew that Na-Duo lied. This crystal didn't have anything to do with divine sense, let alone allow it to evolve. At this moment, he didn't have any regrets as he threw the crystal and shouted, That is the cultivation planet crystal. He didn't just throw it at any random person but at where Lu Mei and Qianfeng were at. The two of them had been waiting. When they saw Wang Lin and company appear, Qianfeng was about to use the treasure Zhu Kz had given him, but then he saw Wang Lin throw a white light towards them. His eyes lit up and he didn't immediately go to catch it. However, he soon regretted it as he saw ENGSUB fly past Wang Lin and charge toward the crystal. Qianfeng clenched his teeth. Without a word, he slapped his bag of holding and took out a bronze doll. There were many black holes on the bronze doll, and each hole was emitting black light. After taking out this treasure, Qianfeng's hand quickly formed a seal. His face suddenly became red and he coughed out a mouthful of blood that landed on the bronze doll. The bronze doll absorbed all the blood. Then it began to emit a red and black light, and then a purple halo appeared over its head. ENGSUB suddenly stopped. Then he gloomily stared at that bronze doll. ENGSUB said in a heavy tone, Zhu Kz. At the moment he said those words, Qianfeng's body suddenly began to tremble and strands of white light came out from his orifices without his control. This light was absorbed by the bronze doll. Qianfeng's eyes were filled with fear. He suddenly raised his right hand, which was holding a piece of jade, and suddenly crushed it. A mysterious power came from within the jade and knocked him away. The strands of white light immediately shattered and a small portion of them returned to his body. The bronze doll had absorbed a large amount of white light, and then melted into a pool of liquid bronze. However, the bronze seemed to be boiling as strands of red gas came out and took the form of Zhu Kz. The current Zhu Kz was no longer as old but filled with more life. Junior apprentice brother. This game has now entered its climax. This old man used Qianfeng's life to take form here so we could have a good reunion. As he spoke, he waved his right hand and the white crystal flew into his hand like lightning. Zhu Kz suddenly pushed the crystal against his forehead, and it fused with his body. ENGSUB's expression was gloomy as he let out a snort and waved his hand. One by one tattoos appeared, and the aura they gave off was very shocking. Zhu Kezi let out a laugh. Then he moved and his body suddenly emitted a large amount of red fog. This fog moved violently and surrounded ENGSUB, as well as everything within a 5-kilometer radius. Inside the red mist, the shockwave of spells could be felt. The battle between Zhu Kezi and ENGSUB started now. However, no one could see the battle clearly because it was covered by the red mist. Zhu Kezi didn't notice that as the red mist was spreading out, the little monkey had entered it and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, outside the red mist, the remaining 5 people were watching. They were Qianfeng, Lu Mei, Zhou Wutai, XIAN, and the last one was Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. His hand reached out and the 1 billion soul flag appeared in his hand. He stared at Qianfeng and Lu Mei and slowly said, "Accept your deaths." Qianfeng was breathing hard right now. A lot of his life force was taken away by Zhu Kezi earlier, causing him to be very weak. His hatred for Zhu Kezi was monstrous. Fortunately, I didn't use it while I was in a battle like he told me to, or else I would have been sucked dry by him before I even killed the enemy. Qianfeng was infuriated, but right now was not the time to be mad at Zhu Kezi. Right now he needed to focus on how to deal with the killing intent that was currently targeting him. In truth, Zhu Kezi hadn't just started scheming against Qianfeng last minute. If it wasn't for the Forsaken Immortal clan appearing, he might have really found a way to avoid the heavens when his lifespan runs out and continue living by stealing Qianfeng's body. Zhu Kezi had been planning this ever since Qianfeng was a child. The reason he had Qianfeng devour all those domains wasn't for Qianfeng but for himself. The method he used on Qianfeng was in fact a secret spell that the previous Suzakas had been developing. This spell wasn't complete and only had a 10% chance of succeeding, and even if it did succeed, it would only delay one's death for several decades. At the same time, there was a heavy price to pay for these several decades of life. That copper doll was the key. It was created by the 4th Suzaku with some metal from another planet that was refined countless times. Then the later Suzakas added countless heavenly treasures to it, finally enabling it to use the spell that absorbs life. In truth, the reason this copper doll had this power was due to the change in the cultivation planet crystal, and the previous Suzakas were able to learn this power by studying the crystal. However, this object wasn't complete yet and it had many flaws. Right now, although Zhu Kezi used it to take form and looked full of life, it was only a temporary appearance. Wang Lin waved the 1 billion soul flag in his hand and countless soul fragments immediately flew out, covering the heavens. Endless ghostly wails that shook even the heavens came out from the soul fragments. Fuse! Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent, and with just one word, 6 not yet ascendant cultivators who were much stronger than late-stage soul transformation primary souls appeared. The Qilin was one of them. I don't need to make them fuse into an ascendant soul fragment to battle the two of you. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He slapped his bag of holding, and the axe appeared in his hand. He lifted the axe as he jumped into the air and then suddenly swung down. Qianfeng's expression changed greatly. He slapped his bag of holding and the Suzaku all quickly appeared. With one shake, a ray of red lightning shot out toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression turned cold and he swung the axe. A powerful sword energy shot out and at the same time, with a roar, he threw the axe. A sonic boom could be heard as the axe shot out. The red lightning immediately collapsed and the axe quickly descended. Qianfeng revealed a fierce look. Then he let out a roar. His hand quickly moved, and then they pointed forward. A blinding red light appeared and surrounded his body. The mysterious Suzaku formation had opened. A sound that pierced the high heavens suddenly echoed in the area. Qianfeng's body was forced back several steps and he coughed out blood. The clothes on his upper body had ripped and turned to dust as a mysterious symbol appeared on his chest. The axe was hit by a powerful force and sent back. Wang Lin charged out and grabbed the axe. The 6 primary souls from the 1 billion soul flag split into 2 groups. 4 of them jumped at Lu Mei and the remaining 2 charged at Qianfeng. Lu Mei's expression sank as she looked at the soul flag. She clenched her teeth and spat out a ray of white light from her mouth. The white light immediately turned into a white sash embroidered with golden threads in the shape of a symbol. The sash quickly wrapped around Lu Mei and broke free of the 4 primary souls' encirclement. Then she and the sash turned into a ray of light and quickly escaped. Wang Lin shouted, "Chase kill!" The 4 primary souls, one of which was the XIAN, quickly chased after Lu Mei. Facing the attack of 2 primary souls, Qian Feng was forced back. His expression was very ugly as he took out a red fan, coughed blood on it, and then quickly waved it. A large gust of wind suddenly appeared and charged out. This wind seemed to counter souls, causing the 2 primary souls to pause for a moment. Wang Lin let out a cold snort, slapped his bag of holding, and 4 identical sword sheaths appeared before him. A hint of coldness flashed across Wang Lin's eyes as he pointed forward, and the 4 sheaths quickly charged out like meteors. 4 rays of sword energy shot out from the sword sheaths. They were each 3 inches long and contained heaven-shaking sword intent. Shatter! Wang Lin's eyes became cold as the 4 sword sheaths charged forth filled with sword intent. Qian Feng's expression changed greatly. He threw the fan forward as he backed up, and was just about to escape, but the moment the fan approached the sword sheaths, it was torn apart, and the 4 sword sheaths chased closely after Qian Feng. Without the fan obstructing them, the 2 primary souls moved very quickly and caught up to Qian Feng. With one attack, Qian Feng's origin soul shook violently and was almost forced out of his body. Fortunately, during the moment of danger, the strange symbol on his chest lit up, activating the Suzaku formation and saving him from the attack of the 2 primary souls. Qian Feng's expression was ugly. He suddenly turned around and shouted, "Teng Niu, don't force me!" As he roared, he spat out a ray of green light which turned into a piece of green wood. The green wood gave off a strange aura. Then it suddenly grew and turned into a 100-foot-long piece of wood. Qian Feng's face was pale as he shouted, "Carve!" The green wood shook and then wood shavings fell off from it. It was as if there was an invisible hand carving the wood. Soon a figure took form. The figure was that of Wang Lin. "Destroy!" Qian Feng shouted again. Right now his face was ashen, pale without a trace of blood, and his body was shaking. A large amount of his life force had just been taken, so he was obviously not Wang Lin's match at the moment. When Qian Feng shouted "Destroy!" Wang Lin suddenly stopped moving forward and his expression slightly changed. Wang Lin could feel a destructive force coming from the green wood as a green blade formed from it and swung down on his head. The shadow of death surrounded Wang Lin. Qian Feng was, after all, a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator and the current Suzaku's disciple, so how could he be short of treasures? He most likely had many more treasures than Wang Lin. Wang Lin had never heard of this green wood. Its strange power made it very hard to defend against. He wanted to dodge but found a mysterious power locking him in place. Seeing the green blade closing in on Wang Lin, Qian Feng revealed a cruel smile. Wang Lin's eyes were calm. With a thought, a primary soul appeared before Wang Lin and exploded. The explosion of the primary soul created a powerful shockwave that destroyed the force locking him in place, allowing him to dodge the green blade. Qian Feng revealed a look of frustration and turned around to escape without any hesitation. How could Wang Lin let him run? He reached out and the 1 billion soul flag appeared in his hand. With one shake, a large amount of soul fragments flew out once more. Seal! Wang Lin let out a roar and all the soul fragments scattered. Soon, the soul fragments formed a barricade of 5 kilometers in radius and trapped Qian Feng. At the same time, Wang Lin swung the axe at the green wood. With one swing of the axe, the green wood was split in half. Qian Feng felt sweetness in his mouth, and then he coughed up another mouthful of blood. Die! While Wang Lin shouted, he threw the axe forward. At the same time, the 4 sword sheaths shot out like meteors. 4 rays of destructive sword energy came out from the sword sheaths and shot toward Qian Feng from all 4 directions. But it was still not over. Wang Lin shook the 1 billion soul flag, causing it to disappear in a shower of golden dust and fuse with the surrounding soul fragments. The soul fragments emitted a sealing power as a result of this. At this moment, a powerful restricting aura appeared within the area surrounded by the soul fragments. This aura was so powerful that even teleportation was affected by it. Qian Feng's eyes revealed terror and then he immediately shouted, "Teng Niu, there is no great hatred between us. Why must you try to kill me?" Wang Lin's eyes were like lightning as he stared at Qian Feng and said word for word, "I'm killing you because I promised Red Butterfly I would." Qian Feng began to laugh like mad and said, Sangyo, if you didn't have the 1 billion soul flag, I could easily kill you. Now you forced me. If I die, I'm going to waste your 1 billion soul flag. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he softly said, accept your death. The 4 rays of sword energy came from all directions toward Qianfeng. These 4 rays of light carried powerful auras. It felt as if they were about to shatter the space they were in. Qianfeng's face was fierce as he took a deep breath and activated the Suzaku formation to its peak. A thick red light quickly surrounded his body. At the same time, he slapped his bag of holding and took out an item. It was an iron sword. An iron sword covered in rust that looked like it came from the mortal world. The specks of rust gave off a powerful scent of blood. The rust was clearly a result of the sword being covered in blood. This is something my ancestor, the last Suzaku, left behind in secret. Even the current Suzaku doesn't know of this thing. Sangyo, I have the Suzaku formation, and since you can't break the formation, you can't kill me. However, I can kill you with this sword. After Qianfeng finished speaking, he swung the sword. A primal aura came out from the sword. This aura felt like it came from a primal spirit. The moment the iron sword appeared, even Zhu Kezi and ENGSUB, who were fighting in the distance, were stunned. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared hard at the iron sword. To be more accurate, he was staring at the rust on the sword. There are several drops of dried blood on that sword that give off a very familiar aura. Blood of the ancient god. This is real ancient god blood, far superior to the aura the giant demon clan blood gives off. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the rust spots. Not right. How could an ancient god be so easily hurt? There is no way that sword is normal. Wang Lin's eyes became serious and this time he looked toward the sword itself. The moment the iron sword appeared, someone walked out from the sea. No one noticed this person appear. It was as if he was completely invisible. It was the person wearing the mask. His eyes revealed a mysterious light as he stared at the iron sword and muttered to himself, "This is." Qianfeng was forced to use this sword. This sword was his family's greatest secret. It belonged to the previous Suzaku, who somehow found it and secretly hid it in the Qian family. When the previous Suzaku left behind the sword, he said, "I can't see through this sword with my current cultivation. Future generations, unless it is a disaster that will destroy the family, you mustn't use it." After Qianfeng became Zhu Kezi's disciple, and just before the war with the Forsaken Immortal clan, Qianfeng secretly went to the hiding place of the iron sword and took it. He wanted to kill Wang Lin and didn't trust the treasure Zhu Kezi gave him, so he took out the iron sword. This was his real counter to the 1 billion soul flag. At this moment, a laugh suddenly came from the red mist where Zhu Kezi and ENGSUB were battling. Shortly after, a shadow shot out toward where Wang Lin and Qianfeng were dead in the blink of an eye. The shadow pierced through the soul fragment encirclement, causing all the soul fragments in its way to dissipate with miserable screams. The encirclement was pierced through by this figure, leaving behind a wide opening. When Wang Lin saw this figure, his expression changed and he backed up. However, just at this moment, waves of creepy laughter came from the figure and a red figure came out from within it. The moment he appeared, he casually waved his hand at Wang Lin. Wang Lin coughed out a large mouthful of blood and his body shot out like a meteor. His body didn't stop until he was 10,000 feet away, where he coughed out another mouthful of blood. This time there were even small pieces of his internal organs in the blood. The red figure turned into a man with red hair and a half-transparent body, and inside his body was a small monkey. Rays of red light were coming out from the little monkey to form this figure. Wang Lin's heart felt bitter as he said, to his son. The figure moved once more and arrived next to Qianfeng. He reached out to throw Qianfeng aside, causing the Suzaku formation to activate on its own to stop him. However, when the figure reached out, a series of crackling sounds came from the Suzaku formation, and with one hit it shattered. Qianfeng's face suddenly turned extremely pale. The shattering of the Suzaku formation gave him a serious injury on top of his current injuries. After throwing Qianfeng aside, the figure grabbed the iron sword. After taking a careful look, he began to laugh like crazy and said, "It turns out to be this. The blood on this sword is from a 9-star member of my clan. Good. With this in the cultivation planet crystal, I'm 100% confident I can escape." Wang Lin took a deep breath and reached out with his right hand. The 1 billion soul flag appeared in his hand, and then, after one shake, all the surrounding soul fragments gathered toward the flag. The axe and sword sheaths also flew toward him under his command. The figure looked at Wang Lin, revealed creepy smile and said, "Little brat, wait until I obtain the cultivation planet crystal and then I'll come and deal with you." With that, he wiped his hand over the sword. The rust on the sword began to move as if it were alive and finally formed one drop of dark red blood. The figure revealed a look of joy and swallowed the drop of blood. Then, while holding the sword, he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was inside the red fog where Zhu Kezi and ENGSUB were fighting. Zhu Kezi's surprised exclamation and ENGSUB's angry roar came from the red mist, followed by the sounds of spells. Qianfeng was seriously injured after being thrown away, but he managed to stabilize his body and was just about to escape. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He waved the soul flag in his hand and was surrounded by it as he charged toward Qianfeng. Wang Lin thought, "I need to use Qianfeng's life to trade for my soul piece and then leave the Suzaku tomb at top speed." Wang Lin's speed reached its limit as he rushed at Qianfeng. Qianfeng was caught by the countless soul fragments and taken away by Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body appeared before Qianfeng and pointed between Qianfeng's eyebrows. Qianfeng's face was pale and his eyes revealed a hint of madness. His Suzaku formation was destroyed, his iron sword was taken, his treasure was broken, and his life force was stolen. He was also seriously injured, making him extremely weak. Now that he had been caught by Wang Lin, he was going to die without a grave. "Even if I die, I'll have you die with me." Qianfeng's eyes were filled with madness. He was prepared to explode. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he softly said, "Soul piece." The purple symbol that was left in his mind immediately began to shine and appeared between him and Qianfeng. To exact your soul piece from the cultivation planet crystal, you must trade a life for it. At this moment, just as Qianfeng was about to explode, he let out a miserable scream and his eyes dimmed. The purple symbol gave off a demonic light and 2 soul pieces appeared on it. Of the 2 soul pieces, one belonged to Wang Lin and the other to Qianfeng. Qianfeng's soul piece slowly shattered, and then Wang Lin's soul piece slowly dissipated into specks of light that slowly entered Wang Lin's forehead. Wang Lin's body started trembling. He could feel that there was something extra in his body, and he was filled with the sense of being whole. On the contrary, Qianfeng, whose eyes dimmed until there was no light, died before he could explode. 4 rays of light shot out from his forehead and disappeared. The 4 rays of light were the 4 elemental spirits Qianfeng devoured from Red Butterfly. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He waved his hand and grabbed one of the elemental spirits while the other 3 disappeared. As for Qianfeng's body, it fell from the sky and into the ocean. Qianfeng's bag of holding flew up and was caught by Wang Lin. Zhuowutai and XIAN watched all of this from a distance. They looked at each other and then Zhuowutai let out a secret sigh. In the end, he still wasn't able to tell what he wanted to tell Wang Lin in time. The hatred in XIAN's eyes disappeared. She looked at Qianfeng's sinking body and began to laugh. The hatred in this laugh was extremely monstrous. "Qianfeng." XIAN's eyes became cold. Then she quickly sat down and her hand formed a mysterious seal. At the same time, flashes of light came from between her eyebrows and several puppet cultivators appeared to protect her. Cultivation furnace. In the end, who is whose cultivation furnace? Wang Lin, in the end you still weren't able to see through it. You killing Qianfeng granted XIAN's wish. Unfortunately, even I don't know what kind of spell ENGSUB used. This kind of spell is unheard of. It is simply too strange. Even with a sliver of the green dragon's inheritance that has awakened in my mind, I have no memory of this spell. Zhuowutai revealed a complex expression as he looked at XIAN. XIAN was currently emitting a rainbow-colored light, and a powerful aura filled her body. This aura was very similar to Qianfeng's. Wang Lin was wrapped by the soul flag and was about to charge out of this golden sea. But just at this moment, a heaven-shaking sound came from the red mist that Zhu Kezi released. A second later, ENGSUB's figure was thrown out of the mist. Blood came out of his mouth, his eyes were blurry, and when he landed he almost fell down. At the same time, Zhu Kezi was also thrown out. His expression was ugly. The vitality he had before disappeared. He was now covered in a deathly aura and blood was coming out of his mouth. A mad laugh came from within the red mist. Shortly after, the red mist disappeared, revealing Tuosen's red figure holding the white crystal. His eyes were releasing a red glow. Once I'm free, I'll definitely let you two experience my real strength. While Tuosen laughed, his body turned into a ray of lightning and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin, now it is your turn. Tuosen's voice was filled with coldness, and when it entered Wang Lin's ears it startled him. Wang Lin was still wrapped by the soul flag and quickly flying away. However, Tuosen's speed was even faster. In almost a blink of an eye, he caught up to Wang Lin. His gloomy voice entered Wang Lin's ears. You can't escape, Wang Lin. I have waited for a very long time to devour your inheritance of intelligence. Wang Lin's face was gloomy. He waved his hand and the axe appeared in his grasp. He suddenly turned around, focused all the celestial spiritual energy in his body on the axe, and viciously swung down. A ray of axe energy several hundred feet wide and filled with celestial spiritual energy shot out. This ray of axe energy felt like it could split the heavens. However, Tuosen's figure's eyes started glowing red. Then he raised his hand and gently pointed at the ray of axe energy, causing it to collapse. Wang Lin quickly backed up. His face was completely pale and he put away the axe. Then he took out the soul flag, shook it and said, "Fuse!" With one word, all of the soul fragments besides the ones chasing after Lu Mei began to fuse like crazy. The fusion speed was so fast that it was completed in almost an instant. In an instant, all of the soul fragments and primary souls fused into one. A soul fragment surrounded by a golden purple glow suddenly appeared. The aura the soul fragment gave off was the same as an early stage ascendant cultivator's. After it appeared, with a wave of its hand, its body turned from transparent to solid. After creating the ascendant soul, Wang Lin retreated without any hesitation. He knew that this ascendant soul fragment couldn't win. Wang Lin was very clear about this point. Oh, you do have some skills. No wonder you were able to steal the inheritance of memory when you were only at the core formation stage. However, if it was before I got that drop of blood, this could have stalled me for a bit. But now that I have it, it can't stop me for even half a step. Tuosen's red hair moved without any wind and his dominating aura spread out from his body. Tuosen began to laugh like crazy as he moved forward, raised his fist and threw a punch. This punch looked normal, but both Zhu Kezi and ENGSUB's expressions were very ugly. The two of them were heavily injured by that one punch and forcibly knocked away. The ascendant soul fragment waved its hand and a purple lance quickly appeared in its grasp. It shook the lance before throwing it and then it grabbed Wang Lin and disappeared. This was Wang Lin's real objective. The fused ascendant soul's purpose was not to fight but to help him escape. The lance pierced through the sky and collided with Tuosen's fist. A loud rumbling sound could be heard as the lance shattered. Cracks quickly spread all over the lance, causing it to shatter. Tuosen's body didn't move as he looked at where Wang Lin disappeared. He revealed a cruel smile as his right hand reached out and he shouted, "Come back!" A giant vortex suddenly appeared in the sky and began to spin slowly. A suction force beyond imagination came from inside it. While Wang Lin was running away, his body suddenly stopped and was pulled back at an unimaginable speed. In almost the blink of an eye, he was pulled back to within 1,000 feet of Tuosen. I said you can't run away. Tuosen only took one step to cross 1,000 feet and threw out a punch. Wang Lin's expression was ugly and a feeling of death filled with heart. This feeling was very strong as he made a decision in his heart. With one thought, the ascendant soul fragment suddenly turned around and waved its hands. Both of its hands moved and then a mysterious symbol suddenly appeared. The symbol gave off an amazing aura. The Ascendant Soul fragment turned into a ray of light and merged with the symbol. At this moment, this symbol was as black as ink. Break! An ancient voice came from the Ascendant Soul fragment. A shattering spell. All of the soul fragments will explode and thus create an unimaginable amount of force. A destructive aura came from the symbol. The aura wasn't strong, but for the first time, Tua Sen's expression changed. He immediately withdrew his fist and was about to retreat. However, it was too late. The countless soul fragments and the primary souls all exploded. This explosion was even more powerful than when a fused Ascendant Soul fragment exploded. The black symbol moved like lightning and shattered several feet in front of Tua Senator. A black ripple suddenly appeared, and it seemed to have intelligence. It didn't spread out randomly but charged toward Tua-san. A heaven-shattering sound that shook the entire Suzaka tomb appeared. At this moment, not just the ones inside the Suzaka tomb but everyone on the planet could feel this aura that could destroy the heavens. With a boom, Tua-san's figure was thrown back like a meteor. 1,000 feet away, Tua-san's figure was collapsing. The eyes of the little monkey inside his body dimmed. Then it closed its eyes and died. However, the red light that formed Tua-san's body reformed after dissipating. Although it looked like it would shatter with just a gentle breeze, it still gave off the terrifying aura of a powerful expert. I didn't think that you would have this kind of treasure. Wang Lin, I underestimated you. Tua-san's voice came from that figure and was very cold. Aside from the 4 primary souls chasing Lu Mei, all the other soul fragments in the 1 billion soul flag had exploded to create this terrifying explosion. However, even with that, it still wasn't able to completely wipe out this sliver of divine sense from Tua Senator. He was simply too powerful. Wang Lin felt very bitter in his heart as he let out a sigh and touched his forehead. He wasn't sure if he could hide from Tua-san in the heaven-defying bead. He was unsure of what to do. I want to see where you can run to this time. Tua-san's body slowly solidified. Then he took a step forward. But just at this moment, a ray of light flew out from the sea. Its speed was simply too fast, and in the blink of an eye, it arrived 10 feet from Tua-san. The light disappeared, revealing the man wearing the mask. He raised his hand and pointed at Tua-senator. His eyes revealed a mysterious light as he said, "Seal!" Tua-san's expression changed as he stared at this person. Then he retreated once more. The masked man's eyes lit up as 5 rays of light shot out from his fingers. The 5 rays of light turned into 5 chains that flailed about. In the blink of an eye, the 5 chains turned into 5 seals. The seals stacked on top of each other and chased after Tua-san. I couldn't seal you before, but now that you have been injured by an Ascendant Cultivator self-explosion, I can seal you. As the overlapped seals closed in on Tua-san, his expression changed. Continuing to retreat, he shouted, "Who are you?" The masked man didn't say a word as his eyes released a mysterious light. The seal flashed and suddenly disappeared but soon reappeared behind Tua-san and landed on him at a very fast speed. Tua-san suddenly raised his hand and a red mist came out from his mouth. His body slowly dissipated until it was completely gone. But the red mist didn't disappear. It twisted and churned. Tua-san's face appeared in the red mist and said, "I don't care who you are, but when I break free, I'll kill you." The red mist churned a bit before turning to red crystals and raining down on the surroundings like red rain. The masked man reached out with his right hand and white specks of light appeared among the red mist. The white light condensed into a white crystal and landed in his hand. At the same time, the iron sword that Qianfeng took out also appeared. He looked at the iron sword and then put it away. Wang Lin's heart trembled as he stared at the masked man. At this moment, not only Wang Lin's, but the gazes of everyone present were gathered on this person. Yangxi's eyes were filled with terror. He immediately recognized that this person was a cultivator whose cultivation he couldn't see through. It has to be said that he could see through cultivators up to the late stage of Ascendant. If he couldn't see through someone, then this person had to be beyond the Ascendant stage. Thinking about this, Yangxi's heart trembled violently. Zhukezhi's eyes became serious as he stared at this person and at the white crystal in this person's hand. Thinking about how this person had extracted the crystal from the void, Zhukezhi's body trembled. He revealed a look of disbelief and bursted out, You are. The masked man let out a sigh. He calmly looked at Zhu Kz and said, Zhu Kz, do you understand that what you did was wrong? Yangzi looked at this person and muttered to himself, Yi Wuyo. He is not the first Suzaku. Don't just guess randomly. Zhu Kz quickly cut Yangzi off. He looked at the masked man and respectfully said, Junior greets the Alliance's messenger. Regarding this matter, Junior understands what he did wrong. Alliance messenger. The Cultivation Alliance's messenger. Yangzi sucked in a breath of cold air. Zhu Kz, your lifespan has reached its limit, so you should be dead. There's no need to force yourself to stay. Attempting to shatter the Cultivation Planet Crystal is considered a great crime in the Cultivation Alliance. Looking at the fact that you had your reasons, I won't pursue this matter for now, but you should leave this world right now. Zhu Kz's face was filled with bitterness as he silently nodded. His eyes lit up and he said, I can leave, but the Forsaken Immortal Clan. The masked man said, I will deal with it. Zhu Kz took a deep breath, sat down cross-legged, and closed his eyes. He still had a bitter smile on his face as he died. His lifespan was already almost up, but then he stole Qianfeng's lifespan to last longer. Now that he had met the Cultivation Alliance messenger, he had to give it all up. At the moment of his death, he remembered something from a record left behind by the first Suzaku, Yi Wuyo. It said that there was always a Cultivation Alliance messenger on planet Suzaku. The messenger changed every generation and they were very well hidden. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly backed up. Just at this moment, the masked man turned around toward Wang Lin and smiled. Brother Donghua, do you not remember me? Wang Lin was startled. He stared at this person for a bit, and shortly after, his eyes lit up. The masked man placed his hand on the mask and slowly took it off, revealing his true face. Wang Lin's eyes became serious. It's you. We haven't met in many years, but Brother Donghua is still as graceful as before. However, there is still one thing I don't understand. Why did you refuse to become the next Suzaku? On planet Suzaku at the Sea of Devils in the land of the ancient god, on the pillar at the middle of the Blood Sea, Tuasen suddenly raised his head. He was filled with unwillingness. However, that soon disappeared and was replaced with intense, red light. You can break my sliver of divine sense, but you can't stop me from escaping. Beside him, a drop of dark red blood slowly appeared. Tuasan stared at the drop of red blood and revealed a dark expression. With this, it won't be long before I can walk out of here. Wang Lin, I'll spare you this time, but you definitely won't be able to escape next time. Wang Lin's pupil shrank and he calmly said, Mog. It is I. Brother Donghua, you still haven't answered my question. The man took off his mask. HR was indeed the person who Wang Lin met in the temple on that rainy night, with whom he talked about life and death. Wang Lin calmly said, My future is not on planet Suzaku. Wang Lin understood now why the white crystal flew toward him. Probably had a lot to do with this person. Emoji looked at Wang Lin, shook his head and sighed. Unfortunate. Since Brother Donghua doesn't want to, then I won't press this matter. His eyes were suddenly filled with confusion and didn't recover for a while. This time his gaze fell on Yangzi. Forsaken Immortal Clan of planet Suzaku can be given to you, but every 1,000 years, you must hand over the skull of a 9-leaf or higher clan member. Yangzi, do you agree? Yangzi's heart felt bitter. He knew that he had no right to refuse right now. This person represented the Cultivation Alliance. The Forsaken Immortal Clan stood no chance at all. He heavily nodded. Yangzi seemed to suddenly become old and his eyes became dim. Just at this moment, waves began to form on the sea below them, and the collapse of the Suzaku tomb started again. While the sea raged, Emoji raised his hand and the white crystal in his hand suddenly began to shine brightly. This light suddenly covered the sea and began to spread across the Suzaku tomb. The light spread like tens of thousands of horses galloping over the sea and soon covered the entire Suzaku tomb. Emoji softly said, Close. With one word, the collapse suddenly stopped, the collapsed earth quickly reformed, and all of the rifts quickly closed. After 10 breaths of time, the entire Suzaku tomb had recovered. Emoji looked at the white crystal in his hand one last time and then threw it into the sea. The white crystal quickly sank into the sea and disappeared. Then he pointed at Zhu Keizi's corpse and a heart-shaped crystal flew out from between his eyebrows. There were many deep cracks on the crystal. It looked like it could break at any time. But at this moment the cracks began to mysteriously close, and in 3 breaths of time, there were no cracks left on the crystal. The next Suzaku. His gaze moved past Wang Lin and onto Zhou Wutai, where it paused for a moment. Zhou Wutai's heart started beating faster. He was very excited and his body trembled slightly. Green Dragon Bloodline, you are a qualified candidate, but unfortunately your cultivation hasn't reached the soul transformation stage. Moji's gaze moved from Zhou Wutai and onto XIAN, who was cultivating next to Zhou Wutai. Cultivation furnace, through luck, she was able to reverse the situation. That is also rare. Moji's eyes lit up like he had made a decision. Zhou Wutai let out a bitter smile and secretly sighed. He knew that his cultivation level wasn't high enough, and that he had no hope of getting the title of Suzaku. Cultivation furnace. There is something strange about her. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had some issues with XIAN before, so they were more like enemies than friends. He noticed a change in her body. There was something between XIAN and Qianfeng. Although he didn't know exactly what happened between them, XIAN was once Qianfeng's cultivation furnace. Him killing Qianfeng somehow granted this girl her wish, which was something Wang Lin wasn't able to see through at all. He had been cultivating for a long time, but he had never heard of a spell that could allow the cultivation furnace to steal from her master instead. This spell was very mysterious and strange, but the most mysterious and strange spells had their own deadly flaws. Wang Lin then looked at Yangxi. He was confident that this matter was definitely related to Yangxi. Wang Lin pondered a bit and said, "Lord Messenger." Emoji looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin said, "Although he hasn't reached the soul transformation stage yet, that doesn't mean he never will." Right after he said that, XIAN, who was cultivating with her eyes closed, suddenly opened her eyes. Her cold gaze locked on to Wang Lin. Wang Lin could clearly feel a thick aura that belonged to Qianfeng on her. XIAN coldly said, "Wang Lin, what do you mean?" Wang Lin looked at the girl with calm eyes and said, "Junior, when I started cultivating, you weren't even born yet. The smell of your mother's milk hasn't even dried." "Shut up." XIAN's eyes lit up. Then she suddenly stood up and the aura of a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator spread out. She stared at Wang Lin and said, "Wang Lin, back then you sent me into the spatial rift and I almost died. I have already remembered this in my heart. Before, your cultivation level was higher, but now your 1 billion soul flag is gone and your cultivation level is only at the early stage of soul transformation. If I wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as waving my hand." Wang Lin coldly looked at XIAN, revealing a hint of mockery, and calmly said, "And if I agree to become the next Suzaku?" The moment he said that, XIAN was startled. She struggled in her heart. In the end, she lowered her head and longer spoke. If Wang Lin really became the next Suzaku and used the Suzaku seal to attack her, she would have no way of resisting. At this moment, she bitterly found out that she was still afraid of Wang Lin. Even though she had Qianfeng's cultivation, this feeling was still there. Emoji looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Brother Donghua, do you want to become the next Suzaku?" Wang Lin calmly said, "Lord Messenger, even if I become the next Suzaku, I would only pass it to him." Wang Lin pointed at Zhou Wutai. Zhou Wutai was speechless. His body trembled and his gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with gratitude. Emoji faintly smiled. In his view, this title of Suzaku was simply too insignificant. No matter who he gave it to, it wouldn't matter to him at all. On the contrary, it was Wang Lin who interested him. After pondering for a bit, Emoji pointed at Zhou Wutai. The heart-shaped crystal flew out and rushed toward Zhou Wutai. Zhou Wutai's body trembled violently as the crystal heart slowly sank into his body between his eyebrows. "Stay here for 1 year and comprehend the Suzaku seal. From now on, you are the 15th Suzaku. However, I didn't break the seal on the cultivation planet crystal. Let's leave it like that." As Emoji said that, he waved his sleeves and Yangxi and XIAN disappeared. At the same time, Zhou Wutai's body slowly sank into the sea and disappeared. At this moment, only Emoji and Wang Lin were left. Wang Lin pondered a bit before clasping his hands and saying, "Many thanks." Emoji laughed and said, "Brother Donghua, Maybe in the future I'll have things that require your help. At that time, don't refuse me. I must leave planet Suzaku and report back to the Cultivation Alliance. If there is a chance in the future, we will meet again. Now let us leave together." Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He shook his head and said, "Lord Messenger, I still have some matters to deal with inside the Suzaku tomb." Emoji revealed a smile that was not a smile and nodded. He moved his hand and a red symbol appeared. "Remember this symbol. When you want to leave, use your celestial spiritual energy to form this seal, and you can leave." Emoji took one last thoughtful look at Wang Lin before turning around, taking one step, and disappearing without a trace. At this moment, Wang Lin was the only one around. "I have obtained both mine and Wan Air's soul pieces. The next Suzaku is Zhou Wutai, and he is a grateful person. I have helped him, so even if I'm not around, he will look out for the people I know, and thus, I can also allow my mind to be at ease." This was the reason why he wanted Zhou Wutai to become the next Suzaku. It was so there wouldn't be anything for him to worry about in the future. Wang Lin pondered a bit before flying into the distance. He didn't fly far before he saw 3 rays of black light flying toward him from the distance. The 3 rays of light turned into the 3 primary souls before Wang Lin, one being the XIAN. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he took out the soul flag, waved it, and all 3 primary souls went into the flag. This Lu Mei sure has some skill. She was being chased by 4 primary souls and was able to destroy one of them. She has already left the Suzaku tomb. Once I leave here, I must kill her. Even now, I still don't have any great feud with this woman. But again and again she acted against me. She even worked together with Qianfeng to kill me. I can't let her live. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he made up his mind. That one dream with Lu Mei couldn't affect Wang Lin's decision one bit. It was just as Lu Mei had said. Aside from Li Muan, Wang Lin was ruthless even toward women. The loss on this trip to the Suzaku tomb was too great. Only 3 primary souls remained and all of the soul fragments were destroyed. The power of the flag had greatly weakened, but with enough souls it can be repaired to full power. Unfortunately, wandering souls can't be used, or else fixing it would be a lot easier. The cultivation planet crystal is such an important item that using it to evolve the G realm must be a lie. Right now the most important thing is to find Su Ligua. I must obtain that half-moon blade. After Wang Lin released Su Ligua, he had been keeping tabs on him. Now he locked onto Su Ligua, took one step, turned into green smoke and rushed over. The matter of the Suzaku tomb ends here. As for the Forsaken Immoral clan, after Yangtze came out from the Suzaku tomb, they all retreated to the northwest and settled on a continent there. They wouldn't casually interact with cultivators. Many cultivators died during the war on planet Suzaku, leaving many sects extremely weak, and thus, the sects began to mass recruit disciples. Many people who weren't all that qualified to cultivate were taken in by sects. There were also some very talented people that were dragged out of their homes by some sections. They were treated as treasures, and vigilant teachers personally taught them to prepare them to become the cores of their sects. On planet Suzaku, there was only one early-stage ascendant cultivator left. He was the earth-shattering sect's ancestor who spent all his days in closed-door cultivation and didn't care about the world. Although he was unhappy that Zhou Wutai was appointed by the Cultivation Alliance messenger, he could only accept it. 1 year later, Zhou Wutai walked out from the Suzaku tomb. Although his cultivation was only at the peak of the late stage of soul formation with the Suzaku seal, he could threaten soul transformation cultivators. He became the person with the lowest cultivation level to become a titled cultivator. He knew that his cultivation level was too low, so after he appeared, he quickly went into closed-door cultivation on Mount Suzaku. The entire planet of Suzaku showed signs of the long-lost peace it once had. Far away from planet Suzaku, Lu Mei was flying in the void with a golden-purple light under her feet. Her expression was very ugly. Wang Lin. Lu Mei bit her lower lip hard as she moved through space like a bolt of lightning. If it wasn't for the fact that Master secretly gave me the 4th soul, I would have had no chance of survival against those 4 primary souls. A flash of golden-purple light appeared on Lu Mei's forehead. The image of a thin needle kept flashing. When we meet again, I won't be in such a sorry state. Wang Lin, you definitely won't be able to recognize me after the 1,000 illusion ruthless domain becomes the 10,000 illusion demon domain. Lu Mei's eyes became cold and her figure disappeared among the stars. Lu Mei wasn't the only one who left planet Suzaku. Right now there was another girl quickly moving through space. This girl was wearing a purple veil and her eyes were calm. She was XIAN, planet Suzaku, country of Chu Cloud Sky sect. Right now there was one person sitting inside the villa that Li Muwen had lived in for a long time. This person was wearing a white robe and his black hair was casually scattered behind him. Although he looked normal, he gave off a mysterious aura that made it hard for people to forget about him. His eyes were calm and clear like a child's, but they also looked very profound, making it easy for people to lose themselves within them. At this moment, his expression was calm as he sat there and looked outside the window. On the open space outside lay a tiger lazily basking in the sun. It would occasionally open its eyes, let out a low growl, flip around, and lets its stomach bask in the sun too. Under the shade near the tiger was a woman sitting in the lotus position. This woman had a very pure appearance. Her naivety made her even more charming. She sat there as if she was cultivating. 2 strands of white gas were coming out from her nose and floating above her head. The man inside the villa was none other than Wang Lin. 1 year ago he left the Suzaku tomb and came back to Chu. Right after he returned, he immediately went into closed-door cultivation for a year. In 1 year of time, Wang Lin healed all the injuries he got in the Suzaku tomb and his cultivation level went up by a bit. Although he hadn't reached the mid-stage of soul transformation yet, his cultivation at the early stage of soul transformation was even more stable. 7 days ago, Suzaku Zhou Wutai invited him to his appointment ceremony, but Wang Lin rejected it. Zhou Wutai understood that Wang Lin would not stay, so he didn't force the subject. He promised that as long as he, Zhou Wutai, breathes, then Wang Lin's friends will live in peace. Wang Lin looked outside the window before withdrawing his gaze. He slapped the bag of holding and the celestial sword flew out and floated before him. The moment the celestial sword appeared, a half-moon blade flew out of the bag by itself. The blade circled the celestial sword as if it were very happy. Master, number 4 has already been tamed by me to be very obedient. Number 4, come and greet Master. Su Ligua's voice came from the celestial sword. Then black smoke floated out of the sword and took his form. He looked very proud. The half-moon blade shook and then a dark blue smoke came out from the blade and turned into the shape of a boy. The boy's figure was not distinct. After it appeared, it bowed toward Wang Lin as it sent out a divine sense message. Greeting. After seeing this blade, deep down Wang Lin couldn't help but admire Su Ligua. Back then when he found Su Ligua, he didn't know what Su Ligua did, but he was getting along very well with the half-moon blade. When the half-moon blade saw that Su Ligua was going to leave, it quickly followed. All of this was outside Wang Lin's expectations. Although Wang Lin still couldn't control it or imprint his divine sense onto it, as soon as Su Ligua encountered danger, the half-moon blade would help. As a result, Su Ligua's pride shot up. If it wasn't for the fact that he was terrified of Wang Lin and Wang Lin held his life, Su Ligua would have already rebelled. Wang Lin knew that he wasn't a match for the half-moon blade. If he started fighting it, it would be a sticky situation. However, for some reason the half-moon blade really likes Su Ligua, so Wang Lin used Su Ligua to control it. During this year, Wang Lin had tried to study this half-moon blade. Just whose soul fragment was powerful enough to form this blade? But even until now, he still hadn't made any headway, and as time passed, Wang Lin no longer spent time on this matter. Master, I'm going to bring number 4 to stroll around. After he saw Wang Lin nod in approval, he immediately charged out the window. The half-moon blade quickly followed and released a series of blade hums. The sword and blade disappeared in the sky going who knows where. Wang Lin touched his bag of holding. He still had a lot of things to do before he leaves. A lot of treasures in his bag needed to be refined again. After all, this trip to planet Tianyun was shrouded in a fog. He had no idea what was going to happen this time. While he was thinking this, a very arrogant voice came from the void and entered Wang Lin's ear. Wang Lin, come and look at the matter you asked me to investigate. I'm outside of Phoenix City in a village named Mulberry. In the future, don't bother me with these small matters. I'm enjoying my life as a king too much, so I don't have time for you. That's right, when you are about to leave, just tell me and we can leave together. Situ Nan's voice was filled with joy and then it disappeared. Wang Lin revealed a smile. When he met Situnan again after coming out of the Suzaku tomb, they were originally going to come back to Chu and leave together after dealing with some matters. However, halfway to Chu, Situnan saw a mortal palace and an urge to become a king appeared. No matter what, he wouldn't go to Chu with Wang Lin and rushed toward that palace instead. Wang Lin didn't know what method he used, but the next day, the king made Situnan a king equal to the real king. From that moment on, he lived a carefree life. However, he didn't forget about leaving the planet and told Wang Lin to tell him when he was ready to go. Wang Lin took a deep breath, stood up, opened the door and walked out. The moment he came out, the girl under the shade opened her beautiful eyes. After seeing Wang Lin, she smiled, ended her cultivation and happily said, "Uncle, what do you think of Ro Air's cultivation speed? I have already reached the second layer of qi condensation." This girl was Zhou Ru. 1 year ago, after Wang Lin arrived at Chu, he immediately summoned the pagoda and let Zhou Ru and Little White out. Wang Lin had left a lot of food inside the pagoda for Zhou Ru to eat. After Zhou Ru came out, she begged him to teach her how to cultivate. Wang Lin couldn't win against her, so he gave her the chant for qi condensation. Zhou Ru had become an adult in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin couldn't help but think of Li Muan when he looked Zhou Ru. "Uncle, what's wrong?" Zhou Ru walked up and gave Wang Lin a strange look. Zhou Ru's knowledge of Li Muan was wiped by Wang Lin, so she naturally wouldn't know anything about her. As for Little White, he would naturally not tell her anything about it. Touching a strand of Zhou Ru's hair, Wang Lin revealed a gentle gaze. This kind of gaze was rare from Wang Lin. Although he looked like he was the same age as Zhou Ru, this gentle gaze looked very natural. Wang Lin softly said, "Uncle is getting old. Looking at you made me think of someone I knew." Zhou Ru laughed. Her voice was like the sound of bells ringing in the gentle wind. She laughed and said, "Uncle, you aren't old at all. A new junior apprentice brother just asked me yesterday if you were my older brother." Wang Lin faintly smiled. This child spent all day yesterday cultivating, so there was no junior apprentice brother at all. She said that to comfort him. "Uncle has already cultivated for 600 years. How could I not be old?" Wang Lin let out a sigh. His eyes showed the passage of time. He had experienced far too much in 600 years. From a mortal no one knew, he reached the point he was at today step by step. At this moment, he was the person who decided who the next Suzaku would be. When he reflected on all of this, Wang Lin sometimes felt like it was all a dream. 600 years of cultivation allowed Wang Lin to see through a lot of time. Also, he had steeled his heart, making him even more exceptional. "Ru Air, do you still remember your parents?" Wang Lin looked at Zhou Ru. Zhou Ru's body trembled as she revealed a look of confusion. Shortly after, she lowered her head and said, "Only vague memories." Wang Lin looked at Zhou Ru with a hint of apology in his eyes. If it wasn't for him, she would be with her parents and would have had a warmth-filled childhood. Unlike now where she only had a tiger as a friend. "Ru Air, Uncle will take you home," said Wang Lin softly. With one wave of his sleeve, a cloud appeared under them and flew off into the distance with Zhou Ru on it. Little White quickly flipped over and no longer basked in the sun. He let out a roar, jumped into the sky and quickly followed them. On the cloud, Zhou Ru bit her lower lip and softly asked, "Uncle, you found my parents?" "I found them." "Zhou Ru, remember that once you see your parents, you must be filial to them. Remember that filial love is the first love people have. If you can't be filial, then you can't be considered a person," said Wang Lin. It was as if his parents' figures had appeared before his eyes. Zhou Ru nodded. Then she looked at Wang Lin with a bit of hesitation and said, "Uncle, didn't you say you were going bring me when you leave planet Suzaku?" Wang Lin looked at Zhou Ru and sighed. "Ru Air, our fate ends here." "Uncle." Zhou Ru's body started trembling, her expression greatly changed, her eyes turned red, and tears began to fill her eyes. "Don't say any more," said Wang Lin with a heavy tone. With one step, the cloud under them flew even faster. Little White let out a roar behind them and continued to fly. He secretly thought, "Although this tiger grandfather can't run as fast you're dreaming if you think you can get rid of me that easily. Even if I cough up blood, I'll still catch up." Planet Suzaku, outside of Phoenix City in Chu, in a mortal village. It was a morning in spring. There was smoke coming out from the various houses and there were sounds of dogs barking along with children playing. The fifth house to the east of the village was a humble house. A slightly older woman was squatting in the kitchen, lighting the stove to prepare to cook. Her figure was slightly bent and filled with age. Smoke came from the firewood, causing her to cough, so she quickly picked up the bamboo fan. After fanning it a bit, the smoke finally scattered. "Ru's mom," a voice called to her from the room next to the kitchen. The woman put down the fan and wiped her hand on her dress. She quickly left the kitchen and arrived at the room where the voice came from. After opening the door and entering the room, she saw an old man sitting on the bed. His eyes were sunken in and deep wrinkles covered his face. The man's entire body was just skin and bones and his eyes had no light in them. The woman arrived next to the bed. Then she looked at the man and tears came out of her eyes. "Husband, what do you want to eat?" The man raised his right hand and the woman quickly helped him sit up. "Ru's mom, I had a dream yesterday that our daughter returned home." A hint of brightness appeared in the man's dim eyes. "Our daughter will return home soon." The woman's tears started pouring out. "Yes, she will return home soon," she said. "I regretted my decision back then. I shouldn't have let that Taoist take her away. In a flash 20 years have passed and I have no idea how she is." The man looked even older. The woman wiped away her tears and whispered, "Don't worry, our daughter has good fortune. She is definitely safe." These two are Zhou Ru's parents. During the Forsaken Immortal clan's invasion, they were forced to move here to get away from the war. However, these two elders have always thought of Zhou Ru. Zhou Ru being taken away by that Taoist has always been a thorn in their hearts. The years of longing made this thorn even longer and stronger, making the pain even worse. Zhou Ru's father has always regretted this. After he got sick, he never got better and became thinner and thinner by the day. All of the household's burdens fell on Zhou Ru's mother. A housewife had to support the entire family. However, in her dreams, tears filled her eyes and she still called Zhou Ru's name. "Our daughter will come home." "Husband, you had a dream yesterday about her returning. Your dream will definitely come true." The woman wiped away her tears. Zhou Ru's father let out a deep sigh and was about to say something when his eyes locked onto the door. It was as if his entire person was frozen and couldn't move a muscle. The woman was startled as she turned around to see where her husband was looking at. When her gaze reached the door, her entire body began to tremble. She saw a girl standing at the door. This girl was very charming and had long flowing black hair. Her appearance was a bit similar to the couple's vague memories of Zhou Ru. The woman hesitantly whispered, "You, mother." Tears suddenly fell from the girl's eyes as she arrived next to the woman and began to cry. "Ru'er, it really is Ru'er. Husband, she really came back." The woman became so excited that tears streamed down her cheeks. The woman hugged the girl and began to cry. Zhou Ru's father seemed to be suddenly filled with unimaginable power. He sat up by himself. He looked at Zhou Ru as tears flowed down his cheeks and said, "God have mercy on us. God have mercy on us. My daughter has returned home." Outside the house, Wang Lin sighed. He was filled with regret toward these two. He pointed with his right hand and a ray of spiritual energy quietly entered each of Zhou Ru's parents. Zhou Ru's father's body completely recovered and was filled with vitality. Zhou Ru's mother was the same. "Ru'er, uncle is leaving." After pondering a bit, Wang Lin left. He appeared ever so bleak and lonely. Inside the house, Zhou Ru seemed to feel something. Then she looked out the window and saw the bleak and lonely figure. "Uncle, will Ru'er have a chance to see you again in this life?" thought Zhou Ru. The sorrow in her heart deepened. In her heart, Wang Lin was more important than her parents. After all, she had been with Wang Lin ever since she was little. "Uncle, I'll continue to cultivate until I can leave planet Suzaku. When I can leave, I'll come find you. By then, little Ru'er will no longer be dragging you down." Wang Lin left. Little White let out a few growls outside of Zhou Ru's house. His big eyes looked into Zhou Ru's house and filled with reluctance. Shortly after, he let out a loud roar before jumping into the sky and disappearing in a ray of white light. This roar shocked all of the villagers in the village, but when they came out, they found nothing. However, all of the livestock in the village didn't dare to leave their pens for a month. Every night, their bodies trembled violently as if they were traumatized. Country of Chu. Wang Lin's body appeared outside the cloud sky sect. Yan, come out to see me. Wang Lin's voice echoed across the cloud sky sect. A ray of light quickly flew out from the cloud sky sect. The light stopped 10 feet before Wang Lin, revealing an old man. This person was Yan. Yan had reached the Soul Formation and the country of Chu had become a rank 4 cultivation country. Yan is here. Yan clasped his hands and respectfully stood there. His heart was filled with respect toward Wang Lin. On planet Suzaku, Wang Lin's name was a legend. Wang Lin, also known as Tsingniu, chopped Red Butterfly's arm, killed Qianfeng, surprised Lu Mei, forced the XIAN to retreat, and with one word made Zhou Wutai the 15th Suzaku. All of this spread to every cultivator across planet Suzaku. Almost no one didn't know of these stories. In Yan's heart, Wang Lin was the heavens and his words were the heavens' law that no one could resist. Wang Lin waved his right hand and a bag of holding flew out and landed in Yan's hand. If Zhou Ru can cultivate to the nascent soul stage on her own, give this to her. If she can't, then forget about it. There is a seal by me on it. This seal is very simple. All you need to do is carefully study it, and you will be able to break it one day. Wang Lin's voice was extremely plain. Yan was startled and then he quickly said, Yan doesn't dare. This is your gift to Zhou Ru. Even if I were to die, I wouldn't dare to break it open. Wang Lin looked at Yan and nodded. You better not lust after it, or else you will have to suffer the consequences. Remember this well. Yan's heart shook and he memorized it in his heart. He wouldn't dare to disregard Wang Lin's words, to not believe Wang Lin's words. This feeling followed him even to his death. Wang Lin took a good look around before letting out a sigh. Then his body turned into a cloud of green smoke and was scattered by the wind. Yan was completely soaked in sweat. He carefully put the bag of holding away and returned to the cloud sky sect. On the extreme northern part of planet Suzaku where the country of Shuiyu used to be, and where the icy wind could chill one to the bones. No one knew when, but a field of roses had grown here. However, the roses weren't red but white. Fields of white roses had grown in this cold place and their fragrance filled the area. On the eastern part of the area, there was an icy valley, and inside the valley a single blue rose was growing. It grew facing the cold wind and its branches were like ice. It was like a proud maiden proudly standing there, creating its own charm. On this day, a person entered the valley. This person was wearing white robes and looked every calm. At the moment the person entered, the blue rose seemed to have noticed and released a fragrance. The valley was suddenly filled with the fragrance of the blue rose. It was as if there was a maiden dancing in the valley, giving people a very mysterious feeling. The white-robed young man stood silently behind the blue rose. He looked at it for a very long time before squatting down and gently plucking it. Then he turned around and left. As the young man left, the white roses all began to wilt and die. It was as if they had only grown to accompany that blue rose. When the blue rose was taken away, they lost their reason for living, so they could only scatter.